He took my heart, my sinful heart, and washed it white as snow. He gave his one and only Son, the price to pay, I'm free. What kind of love, what sacrifice would give me life?
The rich ruleth over the poor.
Yo.
A borrower is servant to the lender. The furniture is on debt. The food is on debt.
Woolworths, guys, stop it.
The gadgets that are using, they are on debt. And when they grow up, the only thing they know is a way of debt.
Sure.
I'm saying to you, everybody should have a business.
Yes.
Everybody should have something to sell.
Yes.
There must not be an excuse. Selling is a skill that everybody should have.
Yeah.
The sources of wealth. Number one, your own business. Number two, common stocks. Those are ordinary shares. Number three, real estate. That is property.
Yes, sir.
There is slavery. There is independence. And there is freedom. There is a difference between independence and freedom.
Yo.
A timely voice.
Adventuality SA presents
The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who will not be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name.
Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole. Men who will stand for the right to the heavens, boy.
the Advent Pod SA.
Well, it is the Advent Pod SA, a timely voice indeed, and my name is Kahana Sirupane, and we're here on Whispers of Wealth. And today I have a favorite guest, one of the founding members of what we know today as Witsdassen, my leader, Mr. Mos
Yes.
Maja.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
No, I'm doing well, and you?
Very well, thank you. Well,
Yes.
under the circumstances. Just came back from a long trip, but I'm doing well. Look, today we're going to discuss something quite interesting and something that you are interested in as well. We're going to talk about investments. We're going to talk about, wealth creation for especially black families, how not to pass on black taxes, things like those. Things that are very pinch points in our black financial systems and economies. And I know you invest in appreciating assets.
Yes.
You like those things. So I'm just gonna first start with maybe your background,
Okay.
where you started with your educational journey,
Yes.
and perhaps now where you got into this field. Talk
Okay.
to us about that.
No, thank you very much, KG, for the opportunity, and thanks to the Advent Pod SA and team, and of course, greetings to the viewers. I was born many years ago in Boksburg. I spent first of my 5-year babyhood years in Tembisa. Then I moved home to Limpopo, where I spent 8 years to complete my primary schooling. And after that, I left for Transkei, where I did my high school for 5 years in Kangel and in Bethel. And then in 1987, I came back to Soweto, where I started my post-matric studies. And I did motor mechanic and also teacher's diploma. That is before I came here at VETS in 1992. So I came at VETS 5 years after I matriculated.
Okay.
So ne ke le Grootman ko tlaseng.
Hey.
Yeah, so I was seen as a Grootman. And that's where everything started in terms of Vets ICF, which is today Vets STASM.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah, indeed, one of the founding members, in fact, the first chairperson of the then Adventist Christian Fellowship.
Yes.
Right. So, walk me through when you were at Wits and you were going through your career options. Obviously, you were I think kind of into engineering, more leaning towards that.
Yeah.
But what were your real aspirations in terms of going into career?
Look, KG, it has always been my dream to become an engineer.
Okay.
Something that was influenced by my parents, both my mother and my father. And I remember asking my mom at some point, what do you see in me? You know, and actually, if she first asked me, then I took the question back to her. And she said, I see a technician and engineer because you like fiddling with things and opening radios when they're broken.
Oh.
So that planted a seed. And I was at primary school at that time. My mother was one of my primary school teachers.
Okay.
When she left Tembisa, she came to teach in Limpopo. In Zebediela, there is a village called Makweng. That's where I come from.
Okay.
Okay, my mother is from Tembisa. Then also because my father worked for an engineering company, which was based in Joburg. He worked for that company for 36 years. So he used to come home with some magazines and newspapers. We used to visit him at work. So that on its own had some kind of an influence. And the type of toys that they used to buy us, especially me as the only boy at home, I remember they used to buy me cars and trains. One of my best toys was a train with rails. I would put together those rails before I make those coaches to move around, not knowing that I'll be a railway engineer.
Okay.
So my journey as an engineer started in 1987 when I did motor mechanic N1, N2, and 3 in George Table, which is in Durban, Soweto. And then instead of going for apprentice and working for a company, I was advised to go and do teaching, technical teaching.
Okay.
There were two colleges then in Soweto, Soweto College of Education and Mulapo College of Education. Soweto College was known as academic and the Mulapo technical.
Okay.
So I was in the mechanical engineering stream. So I did my 3-year teaching diploma there. And then I taught for 1 year at Val. There's a school at Val called Beverly Hills Secondary School. When you drive along N1, you'll see it on the left.
Okay.
I was the founder, one of the founder maths teachers there in 1991 when that school started.
Sure.
It was in Maroti. It was called Maroti in Everton. We were sharing a school premises with a primary school before they got those new premises in Everton in Beverly Hills. So it's one of the biggest project that I was ever involved in, founding a school from scratch.
Sure.
And I still visit it even today once a year.
Yes.
And the emblem that they are using even today was designed by myself.
Was designed by you.
It's
Interesting.
written in spiritual, physical, and intellectual.
Spiritual, physical, and intellectual. Now, just tapping into that, then you are definitely, a man who has a spiritual component to you. All of us do. So, how did your spirituality play into your career there?
My spiritual upbringing, I can tell you, played a big role in my life, especially in my career life. I was brought up in an Adventist family. Nice. My mother is a first generation Adventist. My father is a third generation Adventist. Okay, so, and they decided to take us to Adventist schools. When we finished primary school. At 14, I was at boarding school. And that's why I spent 5 years, as I said, in Transkei. I believe very much in prayer. I believe that as an individual, you must pray more than you pray when you are in church or when you are in a family meeting, prayer meetings.
Sure.
Especially privately. I did that a lot, and I still do that even today. And that is something that I credit to my upbringing, especially also with music. I love music as well. I listen to a lot of heritage and a lot of King's Heralds and King's Messengers, all type music.
The golden oldies.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's where we come from.
Sure.
And I also learn a lot in terms of the teachings that we got from church, from childhood up to when we were youth and so on, because they consistently carried us through the challenges that we faced in life. Especially when I came here at Vets, I can tell you things were not easy here.
Yeah.
Last week there was a celebration there by Bozoli. That Bozoli place was known as an unholy ground because that's where all the Goombas were happening almost every weekend.
Sure.
You know, so those are type of places that we avoided as well.
Yeah.
But
I think for you, because you say you were a groot man when you got there, you were not fazed by those things.
Not at all.
Or did you have challenges
Fortunately,
in that regard.
Not at all. Fortunately, I think I was very much anchored in my spirituality, and I was very much strong and knowing exactly what I was here for. I was very much focused, and that also motivated me to be part of the few individuals who encouraged Adventists to come together.
Yes.
Because when I arrived in 92, there was no Adventist group. So we decided to talk to each other. Hey, guys, because we met, and I remember I was crossing Yale Road,
Yes.
Amik Dek, and I met one guy from Lesotho who became my friend. He was come to do chemical engineering, and then we started talking. Then I met another one from Soweto. I said, man, then he said, no, we know so and so and so and so. Let's come together.
Yes.
And they connected with other students, Indians, white students, coloreds, and we met at Sanctuary there,
Yes.
just behind Men's Rest, and we had a discussion of how do we go about forming this thing. So we debated the name, and after some iterations, we decided ACF, Adventist Christian Fellowship. So we registered with the SRC. But then we're not meeting every Sabbath. We met on Wednesdays, lunchtime, and once in a while on Sabbath, we'll do special programs, and parents would come of some of the students. But in 1993, when I was elected the chairman of ACF, we decided we were going to run a full program, Sabbath programs.
Yes.
Every Friday we must meet, every Sabbath we must meet. We must take advantage of the university resources. We're given access to the transport,
Yes.
and we're given a grant and everything.
Very nice,
Yeah.
very nice. Now I think all of them will go back to your speech that you gave at the 30th celebration. Yeah, to recollect on those stories.
Yes.
And I think it's a very vital point that you mentioned, that prayer is a key component of
Yes.
what you deem to be your success today.
Yes.
So just kindly walk us through now. You have young people today, starting work, like fresh out of varsity, starting work.
Yes.
And they're thinking to themselves, at school, no one actually taught us about investing. No one actually taught us about putting away money for rainy days. No one taught us about how to save properly. And on this episode, on Wealth Whispers, we bring in, people like yourselves to say, explain to us, young people, to say, how should we actually, the psychology of money, how should we actually go into the world of money mentally?
In our church, we are taught stewardship.
Yes.
And we have 6 pillars of stewardship. Invest in the stewardship of person, who you are.
Yes.
The stewardship of time. The stewardship of money. The stewardship of the body. The stewardship of lifestyle and so on. But I decided to focus on the stewardship of money.
Yes.
That
Very
was my
important.
area of specialty. And I believe it's something that is very much ignored. And the young people have actually adopted the dependency syndrome to say as long as we are children and we are students, we'll depend on our parents for financial support. And that should not be the case.
Okay.
And you mentioned black families, and something that is disturbing is that we are not into investment at all. But if you look at white families, they are into investment.
Yes.
When a child is born, they start investing for that child.
Right there.
Put away 5,000, 10,000, 1,000. By the time he's 18, or she's 18, or 14, or 16, she's got a portfolio of 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. When she comes to university, they can afford paying fees, they can buy a car. I mean, when I walked into the first time when I walked into the School of Merchants class
Yes.
in 1992, 135,
Yeah.
11 of us blacks, none of us had a car.
Yeah.
But these white boys and white girls all had cars. Then I said, why such a big gap? They come from matric, but they have cars. And my research actually started then.
Okay.
Because we had groups, would have study groups even after classes, and would travel to their homes or to their places, their townhouses, where they were staying, and would walk into a place and, is this your home? I said, no, this is not my home. This is my place. You see an auntie there working, this guy's got a car, he's got a townhouse, he's got an aunt,
Yeah.
but he's just a student staying alone. How is that possible? You see, so I encourage even black learners who are at university to start investing as soon as possible.
Okay.
They should have started when they were born,
Yes.
but it's never too late to start.
True.
So start investing, whether you are in first year or second year or third year, start putting away something, start growing your own money tree. By the time you finish studying, when you start working, then you can even put more. Part of your salary must be invested, okay?
Sure.
With the main objective of retiring early. Because I believe working up until you retire is staying in Egypt for too long.
Hey, it's a house of bondage.
And the sooner you get out of Egypt, the better. Actually, one thing I should have started with, the disclaimer, actually, two of them to say, KG, number one,
Yes, sir.
Financial service sector is highly regulated in South Africa. So I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial planner, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm just somebody who run awareness campaign in terms of investment. I sell information and encourage people to invest. And secondly, because I talk too much about money, and I talk millions and sometimes billions, I talk big things, and people think that I have a lot of money.
Yes.
I don't have money. I'm just a Moses.
Yes,
I'm just a Moses. I can lead people to the promised land, but I don't have to be. I don't have to get there.
You don't have to get there.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I thought I should also throw in that while we're talking about money.
Valid, yeah.
But it's very important to start investing, and I'm sure later on I'll have an opportunity to give you details of how one can do investing, what, when, and so on.
Surely.
But it is something that people must start doing. The habit of investing, of saving, of putting away something for future is very, very important.
Very nice that you mentioned that because I think most young people, go into the workspace and, they just, say, I'm just going to live my life, I'm going to blow it all.
Yeah.
And, there's no care taken into how we should invest with. I like that you also touched the disparity that we face economically in this country, particularly with regards to money.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that, as black family or black generations, we start building that portfolio, especially going into the future. So I just want to tap into now, people are thinking, hey, but money, they say the root, is evil.
The love of money.
Yeah, they say, the love of money, there's a root and then there's evil here. I don't know how to associate the two. The theology, sometimes they just stretch it too much, I don't know. So as a Christian, what would you say are the biblical founding principles on wealth and money? Because we've been misled in most cases.
KG, that is a very big problem. I can tell you, trying to influence.
Sorry about that. Let's continue.
Trying to influence people to start investing, appreciating assets, it's very difficult. I mean, just last week I was invited by a district in, isn't it Mhlatuze, around in Esikawini, around Richards Bay.
Yes.
7 churches or 14 churches came together, and I was one of the speakers there talking about investment in the morning and in the afternoon.
Sure.
And, when you talk to our audience like you're talking to wrong people.
Yeah.
Out of 100 people that I speak to about investing, only 7 people will be listening.
Sure.
Out of that 7, only 3 will be understanding what I'm saying.
Sure.
Out of that 3, only 1 will implement. So for me to get one successful investor, I must speak to 100 people. And I've spoken to hundreds and thousands of people till today for the past 20 years. And there are some misconceptions about money, wealth creation, being rich. It is somehow associated with unrighteousness.
Yes.
It is associated with going to hell. It is seen as something that belongs to a few people.
You love the wealth
You know what
too
I'm saying?
much. Yeah.
Yes, they forget that money is one of the most important things in our lives, especially now in modern times. Without money, you can struggle a lot. I mean, without money, I almost could not achieve my major goal, as in completing or finishing my engineering degree, because first it was difficult without money. I had to make plans to raise money to cover the shortfall of the little money that I was getting from TEFSA, which is NSFAS today, and also the part loan and part bursary that were given. Also the work that I had to do at Vets Business School, those few hours, and the tutoring that I had to do for engineering, drawing, and mathematics, and so on. But thank God, second year, I got a full bursary from Transnet. So there are a lot of misconceptions with regard to encouraging people to investing, especially from black people, black families. They don't see it as part of the gospel. But if you look at our white counterparts in the church, I mean, I've stayed in Centurion for more than 20 years.
Sure.
And I've interacted with some of them. Those guys are big investors. They own assets, you know. Just that white conference, I'm sure they're sitting with much bigger assets than the black conferences.
True.
And we have a lot to do in catching up, in being part of the mainstream economy, in not just believing in working, but also believing in being part of the stakeholders who can also own assets and own those businesses and make part of the system, also in the church as well.
Yes, and sort of owning the value chain as well.
Yes.
Quite important. Okay, so as we excuse me, as we move in this field of money, tell us, what are some of the practical strategies that you found to work, or that you've it's not financial advice, but we're just talking about practical strategies and steps that you say, you know what, if someone takes these 1, 2, 3 steps, this is sort of the outcome that they'll go to.
Sure.
Just briefly, so that someone doesn't think, what is investing? Where do I even start practically? Yeah.
The first thing, you must identify your financial goals, or you must clarify or write down your financial goals.
Okay.
Short term, medium term, and long terms. You know, as young people who grow up saying, hey, I want to have a nice big car, a big house, and a beautiful wife, I want to go on holiday, I want to earn so much money. Those are goals and valid goals that must be written down, and you must work towards them. But we get shocked when we finish studying and we start working, we realize, hey, there's no money here at work.
Yeah,
there's no money at all. I mean, my father worked for one company for 36 years. When he retired, he left with only 100,000 rand. And I asked him, why are you getting so little money when you've worked for so many years? And the painful things that the people that he started with, of other color, walking away with 2 million, 3 million, 5 million.
Yeah.
And I knew some of them personally, because I used to visit my father a lot at work, and he used to take me along with him when he goes to work and traveling around. He worked at Conco Construction, which was then listed at Johannesburg Stock Exchange, 13 Church Street in Johannesburg, PO Box 8259, telephone 839-3270.
Very well.
And that's the company that brought us up.
Sure.
Then I asked him, why are you not getting millions as well, man? You worked for many years. He said, look, they only put us into pension when we were in 1986. So I said to him, how? So you started working for this company when I'm born, and then you get to be put on the retirement fund when I matriculated. But he said, even then we were cheated. Then another reason? No, this company is listed on JSE. When we drive around, he used to show me big buildings. We built this building, even in Jasmat's airport, which is now Wartambo, and many roads from here to Windhoek, you know. And he said all white people were given shares. When you get employed, as part of a benefit, would be given shares, but blacks were not given shares. Before 1994, blacks were not allowed to invest in shares of listed companies that are the economy drivers of South Africa. That's why they walked away with millions. You know what my father said to me? He gave me an assignment. He said, don't expect me to ask this company to employ you after you qualify at Vets. Please go and look for other ways of making a living. Ukusebenzela umlungu is not the way. Is not the way. There is no money here, you know. So I started looking for alternative ways of making a living. Given a chance, I'll share with you some books and exercise that I did. But I want to go back to your question to say, once you have identified your financial goals, then you must learn. Or you must decide to learn how to invest in appreciating assets and what are appreciating assets.
Yes, let's define them.
Especially when you start working. When you start working, even before you start working, whatever little you get, divide your money into 3. The first portion, we know it must go with tithing.
Yes.
Number 2 is tax, whether you like it or not. Especially as an employee, they take it before they give you your money. Then third one is net. Okay, so that's how you divide it. This net must also be divided into three.
Yes.
You must save. You must invest. Then what is remaining is working capital
Okay.
for current needs.
Yes.
This working capital must also be divided into three, but I'm not going to complicate it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. But the importance is saving and investing after tax man and tithing has happened, because that is not yours.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
So once you have done that, if you can invest at least 10 to 15 or 20% of your income, I can tell you, 5 years' time, 7 years' time, you'll see your money tree growing,
Yes.
and it will grow big. What are the assets?
Yes.
In my journey of researching, after I was given that assignment, I attended many seminars, I read many books, I researched, I went all out to check how can one make a living without working for Lekgowa.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
Working for Lekgowa means you get employed.
Yeah.
You know? So the main thing that changed my life and to make me look at life in a different way was when I read 3 books. In the past 25 to 30 years, I've collected more than 1,500 books. I still have them even today, but I want to mention only these 3 books. The first book that I read, which I bought in Elof Street as a second-hand book on the ground pavement, it says, How to Get Rich and Stay Rich.
Okay.
I said, wow, this title is interesting.
It's quite attractive.
Yeah, the author is Alfred J. Young. Then I picked up that book. I looked at the price, it's 45 Rand. And I have only 30 Rand in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I want this book. It's an old white man who's selling the books. So I negotiated. Cut the long story short, I got that book at 25 Rand.
Okay.
And I read that book in one night. And that book is talking about 3 sources of wealth. Number 1, your own business. Number 2, common stocks. Those are ordinary shares. Number 3, real estate. That is property.
Ah, yes, sir.
Then I said, wow, I've read a book by an American author, an old publication. Let me continue with my journey. Then I came across another book, Making Money, Keys to Financial Success, by an Australian author, Paul Clitheroe.
Okay.
3 chapters in that book. Guess what is the first chapter? Invest in your own business.
Ah, there we go.
The second chapter, invest in shares. The third chapter, invest in property. The rest of the chapters are supporting chapters. I said, wow. Then I said to myself, I started getting excited.
Yes.
I said, wow. Now I know from an American, from an Australian, but I'm in South Africa, man. Maybe
There's
these things,
nothing.
they don't work in South Africa. Let me get something that is local, something that I can relate to. I kept looking. It was difficult, but eventually I came across a book titled Sow and Grow Your Own Money Tree.
Yeah.
I said, wow. Kunesihlahla semali.
Uh-huh.
Unemutlari wa chelete. When we were young and would ask money from our grannies, they used to pinch our ears and say, you think that
Money.
was carrying chelete? And I said, there is.
There is a money tree.
Then I took that book. Who's the author? Johan Diepenaar. Who's Johan Diepenaar? A former student of Wits Business School, where I worked as a bursary student.
Good.
And the foreword is by Professor Andrews, the head of the department, when I was still working there in 1992.
Sure.
And I said, wow, I'm going to read a book by a South African, somebody I know, and coming from a school where I'm working. I read that book. Actually, before I read that book, I made a short prayer.
Yes.
I said, God, if I'm not going to find shares and own business and property in this book, then I know they don't work. I must continue looking to do something that will be relevant in South Africa. I started reading that book from chapter to chapter. I started beating about the bushmen, talking this and that.
Left, right.
Things that I've seen before. But then I came to chapter 6. The title, Buy and Keep Appreciating Assets. So then I even changed my posture.
Yeah, you have to now
I
change
went for
gear.
some cup of tea before I started reading this chapter. Then I started reading the chapter. He's discussing 5 asset classes.
Okay.
The first one is business. The second one is shares. The third one is property. I was not interested in the fourth
rest of-
one and in the 5th one.
Yes.
I said, now I know what to do going forward.
Indeed.
I'm getting stuck with these 3, and I'm going to do them for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And that's how my journey began. began. And I decided I'm going to register my own businesses. I'm going to learn about property. I'm going to learn about trading shares.
Yes.
And I went for formal courses and training for those things. And I became an certified estate agent, started a company, Mos Maja Properties in Pretoria,
Very nice.
which went down during the recession of 2008. I also registered a company at ABSA, sole proprietor, and also Pty Ltd at CIPC. And I went for trading courses in Sandton. And guess what? When you walk into a room where trading is happening,
Sure.
you find only white people.
Serious.
We were 11. I was the only black guy
You.
in that school learning how to trade shares. And most of them were old people, retired white people.
They're
playing
doing
with
this as
their
a
monies.
hobby. They're
Yes.
playing with money.
When I went for my exams, before I qualified or I was certified as an estate agent, we were 725 in Visach, in one of the big halls in Pretoria. Out of that 725, blacks were not more than 20.
You.
And I was fortunate I was able to pass at my first attempt. When I walked into JSE,
Yes.
first time in 1997, it was still in Diagonal Street before it moved to Sandton.
Okay.
All stockbrokers were white. The first black stockbroker was Emmanuel Lediga, graduate of Wits University.
Sure.
Yes.
You.
And that stockbroker was called Lehai. Yes. So what I'm saying is, where you see many white people, you must know there is money. Where you see black people, you must know it's work, people looking for work. So you have two choices in South Africa.
Yeah.
It's either you look for money or you look for work.
True. True.
At work, there is no money. It's just to kickstart you to work, because as human beings, we must work, but we don't work to be free or to be independent. Okay?
Yeah.
We work to make a living, but in the process of starting to work, we must also invest so that the time when our body cannot carry us anymore, we'll still be expected to live. We must have income,
Yes.
and that income must come from where? From our portfolios.
Yes. Our assets.
Our assets can be in the form of shares, it can be in the form of property, your own business, or combination of the three.
Yes.
I don't know of any other asset class than shares that can actually take you to the highest level ever. They even outperform property in the long term, the shares. And in my sessions and presentations and workshops, I show everything, all evidence, convincing to say, wow, where was this information all along? It is not taught at school.
It is not. It is not. So to the viewer out there, my leader, and you've dropped gems, I must say. Just in the in the basics of outlining what this thing is and what we're trying to achieve here.
Yeah.
I think now we need to then understand what kind of attitude should one go into, when going into money, because money, I believe, is very psychological as much as it is a practical need that we use to transact. So if you're saying young people in this economy, they must save and invest, and I like that you spoke about workplace versus business. I mean, you can't responsibly say to a young person fresh out of a graduate from Wits on NSFAS, no parental backing, and you say to them, start a business straight off the bat. It's possible, yes.
It is.
But you can't also responsibly say, just do that and you'll succeed, right? So you have to sort of balance them into this equation.
KG, let me share with you this. Yes, it was not easy to start your own business many years ago. It was not even possible to invest in shares.
Yes.
Because the law didn't allow it. Opportunities were not presented to blacks. But I can tell you now, it's easy to start a business.
Yes.
Anybody can do it. When I arrived at Wits, I started a business of selling posters. There was a company in town that was distributing cards and to caddies, where they sell the happy birthday cards, the wish you well, look exam, whatever, and the big posters that people put on the wall. Then I did some kind of a research. What can I sell here at Wits? Because I've always been selling since I was standard 2. I never stopped selling. When I was a teacher, in Everton, I was selling blankets. Going to collect blankets, and one of the biggest manufacturer in Randfontein selling them in Lesotho.
Okay.
I would buy a blanket for 60 rand, go to Lesotho and sell it for 180 rand. And but I wouldn't know how to cheap it. Yo, the cheap 180 rand. I should have said rand.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was making money because my profit margins were big.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was at primary, I was selling sweets. My father used to bring a lot of sweets every month. And I said to my mother, I tell Dad, we call them Dad. In Spedi, we don't say Baba or Baba, we say Dad.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
like we're saying Dad.
Sure.
Tell Dad to stop bringing sweets. We have enough, man. She didn't tell him. She kept asking, what are we going to do with these sweets? So I decided to take all those sweets, put them in my bag, and go to school with the intention of giving away to classmates and friends, just to give them, because there were just too many.
Yes.
Just before break, one of my classmates see a lot of sweets in my bag. Said, wow, so many sweets. And he says to me, how much? I said, oh, how much? And I had two kinds. I said, this one is 3 cents, this one is 5 cents. That's when I started business. And I can tell I never look back till today. So I used to go and buy those posters and travel nationally selling them.
Sure.
I would take a taxi to Teflo, to TNT, to Valtech. I would go to, what is this lady's race here?
This one here on campus?
Yeah, on campus.
Jubilee. Yes.
I would go to Sunnyside and all other places. I was selling the posters about Tupac, Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey, B.I.G., Dr. Dre, Snoopy Doggy Dog. Some is just beautiful dog with a flower, somewhere in natural whatever. Martin Luther King speech, Jr. And you know how much I used to get those posters? Because they used to say to me, no, we cannot give you these posters. We have a license with Cadiz, man. I said to them, please give them to me. I'm only selling them at universities, addresses. I won't go public. So they decided, no, we're not going to give you brand new posters. We'll give you the returns, the rejects that they brought back because they are scratched a bit or they have some whatever. You know how much they used to give me those posters for 5 rand? And I sold them for 25 rand. I made money. Some of the guys in ACF will tell you, those were here in 92, 93, 94, 95. Most was selling posters. Even in Devon, I used to go there, Westville, to sell posters. Now today, I'm saying to you, everybody should have a business.
Yes.
Everybody should have something to sell.
Yes.
There must not be an excuse. Selling is a skill that everybody should have. Because from that, then you have your own business. And it's easy to start it, especially with the technology. You can start it online.
Indeed.
You can start an online business. You don't even need to have your own product or your own service. You can promote what is already there as an affiliate marketer who's blogging maybe on site about something that we are passionate about.
Indeed.
We all have talents.
Yes.
We have skills. We have qualifications. We have passion for something. There are things we enjoy doing. Convert those things into income-generating businesses.
Indeed.
My passion is mathematics.
Sure.
I started tutoring mathematics in 1987 when I assisted my classmates at George Teberton College because I was one of the only, we're only 2 matriculants in that class because N1 was taking only grade standard 10, at that time. I don't know, it's grade 9, whatever. So we were advanced in terms of that standard of N1 and N2 because they were only having N1 and N2, no N3 and N4. So that's why I developed the interest of teaching. So it's my passion.
Yes.
I did it without asking for money. I was just enjoying tutoring. But in 2010, I decided, no, I'm going to monetize this thing in a big way.
Good.
Yeah, I wrote my own study guides. I started tutoring. I advertised myself, and I went to schools. But when COVID hit, I was forced to do it from home, so I did it digitally, and I've built myself online platforms. I have a platform today called mathsforlife.co.za,
Very nice.
which is built specifically for this year's coming exam preparation.
Yes.
For grade 7 to grade 12,
and
pure mathematics.
I've actually seen some of your books, your tutoring material.
Serious.
Very nice.
I
very
also
nice
have a platform called Shares for Life, where I just write about shares
Yes.
and teach people how to go about it. So the starting point is for one to identify his purpose. Molfatsing. What is your purpose? We're here to serve. As stewards, we're here to serve. We're here to manage.
Yes.
So there is something that you must specialize in, something that you must focus on. When we look at you, we must see an aspect of that thing.
Yes.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Everybody, I mean, I've seen a website of somebody who's doing recipes, cooking, health. That website is generating more than 20 million rand every year. Simple website.
Yeah.
With social media to drive traffic there and there,
Yes.
and with writing of books and e-books and stuff like that, and subscribers, who are,
blogs, yes.
you can make a lot of money. Yeah, but I don't encourage people to run after money.
Indeed.
I don't encourage people to run after money.
Yeah.
I encourage people to run after assets. Money will follow.
Hey.
Because today you have scams, get rich quick schemes that do not work. People jump into them because they are told that if you bring 1,000 today, after 6 months, you'll get 10,000. That is the wrong way to approach it.
Yes.
I experienced something very painful when I was at Vets Metro Rail, where I was working as an engineer. I was in train operations before I went to Rolling Stock. In year 2000 and 2001, they wanted to transform the industry and encourage blacks to come in also as train drivers.
Okay.
You see, for a train to move,
Yes.
you need 3 people. You need a train driver who will be in front. You need a train guard who will be at the back. You need a train control officer who will be at the control center to control the rails and the points and robots and stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, that department was managing this personnel. So I was in that department. So we did a lot of scheduling, and which is part of industrial engineering
Yes.
function. Now, Maburu, the Afrikaners, Mahua, they were encouraged to take packages so that they can create opportunity for blacks to come in also to be trained.
Okay.
as
So they
train
had to
drivers.
retire.
Yes.
Okay.
They gave out packages.
Okay.
To say, hey, those of you who want to retire even early, you can get so much and go. You know what happened? Yes, most of them went, and blacks were employed to be trained as train drivers. And there was a scheme somewhere, I won't mention where they say if you bring so much, after 6 months you'll get so much. People took their 800,000, their 1 million, their 1.2 million. In 3 months' time, that thing was on TV, and that place was raided, and they lost everything. They lost everything.
Yeah.
Suicide, divorce, mental illness. Those who were fortunate came back to work to ask for their jobs back. There's no job for you. We are filled, but because we are running short of train drivers, we'll employ on a contractual basis. In my study, in this journey, I did a study of all the get-rich-quick schemes that ever hit South Africa from the 80s.
Is it?
Yeah, from the one that is called Gold Dust.
Okay.
Which started in the northwest, Mafikeng.
Oh
somewhere.
no, that's
Dust.
my place. Oh
Yeah.
man, Mahikeng.
And I did all of them. I studied all of them.
Yes.
Those things don't work.
Yeah.
Why? It's because people are running after money. And the more they run after money, is the more money runs away from them.
Yes.
Because they don't play money according to its rules. The rules of money are saying, work, own a business, invest in appreciating assets, then I will come. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So I encourage people to do what banks are doing, what stockbrokers are doing, what asset managers are doing, to do it yourself as an individual.
Yes.
If you really want to have money. You see? Yeah.
And really, it's about value creation, creating value for yourself instead of chasing after that which we just transact.
Yes.
Because after all, if the idea is to go for that which you just transact, when you get it, you're just going to be transacting, and then that serves no purpose. Yeah. My leader.
Yeah.
No. You're dropping today. You're dropping today.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, because I didn't know this side of you. I only knew he just founded Star Zimbabwe to nothing much. But no, really, this is an opportunity for young people who, especially people on the Advent Pod SA, to learn a lot about investment. Our country, the sad statistic is that most of us are living on debt.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me because we have so much opportunity and resource in this country to actually not even have base level debt.
You have mentioned something.
Yes.
Debt is public enemy number one.
Yes.
In his book, Jonah Van Zinne, the author of War on Debt, says an average or typical American child is born in a house that is bought on debt of more than 20 years. Taken to school or crash in a car that is bought on debt of more than 5 years. Bought clothes on debt using a credit card. The furniture is on debt. The food is on debt.
Woolworths, guys, stop it.
The gadgets that are using, they are on debt. And when they grow up, the only thing they know is a way of debt.
Sure.
Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 and 7 says, teach a child in a way that he should go. When he is old, he will not depart from it.
Indeed.
Teach a child the way of death. When he is old, he will not depart from it. And that's what is happening today.
Sure.
We are following in the footsteps of our parents. Yes, they didn't have as much opportunities as we have today, but we still want to walk the same path that they have walked.
Sure.
Even though there are alternative ways of taking this journey. Coincidentally, the verse after that, number 7, says, the rich ruleth over the poor. A borrower is servant to the lender. How long are we going to stay in Egypt, guys? How long are we going to stay in Egypt? Working must be temporal.
Yes.
It must not be permanent.
It mustn't be the end in itself.
It must not be an end in itself. If you can retire at 40, retire at 40. If you can retire at 45, retire at 45. Don't wait for 60 and thereafter you are a burden to the government.
Yes, yes.
And you cannot afford things that you used to afford because you are not working anymore. And you never invested a portion of what you were earning in the past many years. That's being irresponsible.
Yes.
That's being a poor steward. Remember the 1 talent servant?
Yes.
The 2 talent servant?
The 5.
The 5 talent servant? I don't want to go into details.
No. I think that quite much sums it up. And we really appreciate having these talks. I really do hope that some of our viewers can go into these things and implement, like you said. I think we have close to 2,000 subscribers now.
Wow.
with your metric. Hopefully, at least, even if it's 5, my leader,
Yes.
even if it's 5 who implement, it's okay.
Take that 2,000 divided by 100. I'm
Yes.
sure of those people.
Indeed. But no, we trust our subscribers. They definitely take this to heart.
Yeah.
Okay, so last words of advice on this matter as we just wrap up the conversation. What would be your advice to the young people?
I would say to young people, there is slavery, there is independence, and there is freedom. There is a difference between independence and freedom when you talk finance.
Yeah.
First, you must be independent. Independence is when you don't depend on one source of income. You have multiple streams of income. You can leave that one and still live. You can leave that one and still afford to make a living.
Yes, sir.
But when you are working and you have only one source of income, you go to work even if you don't feel like going to work.
Yes.
Because you think, hey, if I don't go to work, you know what I'm saying? Freedom is when you can live without having to work.
Sure.
Do you know that there are people today who are not working, but they are living big? Yes. They have everything, and I've seen them. They spend time at home or sitting in restaurants, busy on some laptops, checking their assets, and they are driving big cars, staying in houses that are worth millions, but they are not working. They are shareholders of big assets.
Indeed.
We have Capitec, we have ShopRite, we have Mr. Price.
Yes.
Overseas, we have McDonald's, we have Amazons, we have Coca-Colas, we have all those companies. I say to young people, as soon as yesterday, please go and open an investment account. I don't care how much you have. Even if you have 10 rand,
Yeah.
Capitec share price is 2,800 today. But in 2000, it was 1 rand. If you invested 10,000 rand in Capitec in 2000, that 10,000 rand today is 20 million rand.
Indeed.
Invest in appreciating for long term, bearing in mind that markets fluctuate,
Yes.
but the cycles are 7 years. Go and ask Joseph, Egypt.
The master investor. Indeed.
Exactly. So these cycles that we are seeing today were there, and they're still here even today.
Sure.
They say when you buy in shares, don't expect to have quick money next week, next month. No. Put that money and don't do anything up until after 5 years.
Let it sit.
It will work for you. Are you with me? If you want it tomorrow, then put it in the bank under the mattress or in the insurance policy somewhere, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
The growth of money is determined by the speed at which it moves or the rate at which it is exchanging hands.
Okay.
If this is money,
Yes.
and it's moving at a high speed, it means it's increasing in value. If it's exchanging hands, it's growing. But if you fix it, you are saying money don't grow. And that's where people today prefer putting money in their fixed deposits.
Yeah.
You are giving your money instructions not to grow.
You're putting it in a coffin.
3 places where rich people don't put their money, only poor people do. Number 1 is in the bank. That money is not working for you.
Sure.
It's working for somebody else. If you don't have 10,000, if you have 10,000 right now, KG, and you don't know what to do with it, go and fix it in the bank for 12 months. Bank will not take that money and put it under the table and wait for you for 10 months to come and collect it. Somebody smarter than you will walk into the bank to borrow 10,000.
Yeah.
They said, wow, somebody just walked in here, they don't know what to do with money. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to start a business. I'm going to invest. Take this money, this 10,000. When you bring it, please bring it 20,000.
Yes.
Must be double. So no problem. He takes that money. He makes that money to run for that 12 months.
Yeah.
100,000 rand. He takes 20,000 rand back to the bank. He remains with how much? 80,000 rand.
Yes.
The bank receives that 20,000. You come after 12 months to collect your 10,000. They give you 10,000 plus 4%. They say thank you. It's you, is the bank, is the investor. Who's sitting good?
Yeah, no. It's definitely the investor.
The second place where rich people don't put their money, only poor people do, is in the insurance policies.
Insurances, yeah, no.
Insurance policies, if they were a way to go in terms of creating wealth and being rich, many teachers and police people or government employees would be very rich, because some of them are sitting with 3 or 5 in Momentum, in Sanlam, in Old Mutual.
It's a lot.
Policies. You know what I'm saying? In different names. And I can tell you now, I don't know if you are going to edit this, but I don't know of anybody who is a millionaire who's got a big money tree because of insurances. Most of them, actually, they get access to that money when they die. Even if you don't die, laws have changed. You cannot even access that money.
Can't, yeah.
You understand? They say you can only get so much. The rest must come, what. But if it's your own asset. Third place, where rich people don't put their monies, but only poor people. Is in the wardrobe.
In the wardrobe.
Under the mattress. When you put money there, it will not grow. KG, it will not grow.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put 1,000 rand in the wardrobe, how much is it after 12 months?
It will depreciate actually in value.
It will depreciate in value.
Yes.
That's correct. Actually, it won't even last for a month. Because you'll be going to...
You'll be stealing it.
Exactly. To take it, as somebody say, oh, I'm selling banana, you go to the wardrobe.
Yes.
Hey, I want money for taxi, go to the wardrobe. Hey, I want to carry. If you want money to grow into a big money tree, there are 3 asset classes that you must invest in.
And we're walking away with these lessons. Listen.
Number 1 is your own business. Number 2 is shares. And number 3 is property.
And just like that, we wrap it up here on the Advent Pod SA. It was Wealth Whispers with Kahano Sidupani and my favorite elder, Mos Maja. Till next time, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this with somebody who needs it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dude.
Hey, Oliver Richard.
Dizoqhubeka ukumkhonza la ti.